schools, their schedules, depth charts, everything like that as we go on. So we're going to start with the SEC, and we're going to start with the reigning champs, Georgia. Taylor, who do you think takes over for Stetson Bennett now that he's gone at Georgia?
Jaden Rashada.
throwing a hat out there, man.
I'm going to be honest. I have no clue who's going to step in. This is going to sound weird, but it's a big shoe to fill, but it's also a small shoe to fill because Stetson Bennett was not an electric,
big-time quarterback.
Big time quarterback. So I really feel like anybody could step in there and fill the position. You throw me in there, and I'm pretty sure I could do a couple check down passes and get us to a national championship
do you go with
that team that he was surrounded by.
Do you go with Brock Vandergriff, who was a 5-star they got last year, or do you go Carson Beck, who's a 4-star I think they got 2 years ago? Do you go with the 5-star just because of the name, or?
I mean, for this, trying to find a brand new quarterback to come in and take over somebody who brought you to 2 national championships, this isn't just going to be this is our guy. We're just going to go ahead and see what happens. They're going to have to duel it out.
Come springtime.
With this, springtime, it's going to be a straight up quarterback duel. And at that point, that's when you make your decision. I can't really tell you which one I would think because, I mean, sometimes you have 5 stars and 4 stars that go out there in the spring, and then the guy you thought was going to come out and be like that guy turns out to be like a bum. So.
No, I agree. I don't think Georgia's really going to miss a beat, though, because you're replacing Stetson Bennett, who is a decent quarterback, probably one of Georgia's greatest quarterbacks of all time. But even then, I don't know. I think Matthew Stafford would have to be higher than Stetson, even though Stetson won back-to-back.
Yes.
Aaron Murray, I'd put over, even though he didn't have a good college or NFL career, Aaron Murray would be over Stetson. Justin Fields, for the 1 year he was there, would be over Stetson. But he didn't win back-to-back. For Vandergriff, I think Vandergriff has a pretty big arm. Like you said, it's going to come down to spring ball, and I think that's when Georgia's going to make that call. I don't think they're going to miss really a beat, though, because I think Vandergriff and Carson Beck are both better prospects than Stetson Bennett. Obviously, coming out of high school, more prepared.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to miss a beat. Coming off of back-to-back national championships, you're going to have the talent and the resources you need to continue that dynasty. I would say they're on the verge. I wouldn't say they're a dynasty yet, but they're on the verge of being a college football dynasty.
Yeah.
So they have the pieces, and they have the recruits. They have the momentum going for them right now. I don't really see anybody else being a threat outside of Alabama because.
But Alabama, they don't know their quarterback now that who was their quarterback? Bryce Young. Who was their quarterback? Look at
TCU didn't know who their quarterback was going to be.
Yeah, but when we saw Jalen Milroe when he stepped in for Bryce Young was he can just run, and that's pretty much it. And they've already tried. They're already potentially moving Jalen Milroe to a wide receiver that I'm trying out reportedly in practice this past couple weeks. And then
I will say Tennessee might actually be gunning for a national championship this upcoming season because their new QB, their backup,
Milton, yeah,
or they're at the time backup. I can only assume will be a starter. Has a cannon of an arm. I mean, that dude can launch that ball. I mean, it is impressive.
Yeah, and
he's accurate with it too. It's not just hey, I've got an arm, but he is accurate with it.
Yeah, and he transferred in from Michigan, so
something to watch.
Yeah, but so we're gonna, I guess, play prediction. See what Georgia's 2023 schedule. Taylor, I'm just gonna ask W or L. You let me know. Their first game for this upcoming season is against UT Martin.
Win.
Ball State.
Win.
These are some tough games, man. South Carolina with a returning
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Spencer Rattler is he knows he sucks. He knows he sucks. That's why he's coming back, man. That's why he's not entering. He would be like a Brock Purdy type of pickup, but he wouldn't formulate into a Brock Purdy type of player.
Yeah.
So that's why he's staying another year. Maybe he can get some more draft stock. But anyways, win.
All right, so 3-0. UAB,
Win.
Auburn. Auburn's a good school now.
Win.
All right.
They're a good school, but win.
Kentucky,
Oh, win.
Vanderbilt.
Win.
I got an L there. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Florida.
I will say it's going to be a close one, so 50-50. I can't give you an answer.
All right, I'm gonna say they win. I think with this game, it comes down to quarterback play. I think obviously, Georgia has more depth. They had the number 1 recruiting class this year. You know, we saw what happened when their backups came in against the national championship game. They didn't skip a beat. It just all depends on that quarterback. If these quarterbacks that they recruited pan out, then I think Georgia wins. But if they don't, then I think Florida has a chance. It just all depends on that quarterback.
Well, Florida this year. So Georgia was, I think they went undefeated, 13-0. Florida had them on the edge there for a while, and I think we can all agree that this Florida team this year was not
it wasn't
a great team
whatsoever.
whatsoever. So I predict that this Florida team coming up this season is going to be much better than they were. And I think it's going to be a 50-50 for me. So I can't give like a winner or a loss. If I'm putting money on it, I would put it on Georgia because they're back-to-back. So it would be the safer bet.
All right. And then we move on to Missouri.
Win.
Ole Miss. Jackson Dart returning.
Yeah.
They just signed 2.
Ole Miss isn't they're not a bad school, but I'm going to say win.
All right. And then we have Tennessee. We just talking about Milton there.
I'm going to say a loss. I'm going to say Tennessee with Milton. I think Milton gives them a little bit more of an edge than Hooker did. Hooker was good, but I think that arm talent that Milton has, I think that's going to carry them a long way.
All right, I like it. So that puts them at 11-1. Georgia Tech.
Win.
All right. And so basically you have them going 12-1, which I can see. I can see them going undefeated as well. But that Tennessee game is definitely going to be a solid game. Could Tennessee sneak it out? Yeah, probably.
This isn't part of our discussions, but I would like to say the NCAA needs to take a hard look at scheduling, especially for these Power 5 schools and the teams that they go up against. I understand at the beginning of the season, your first 2 games, they're usually cupcake games. You know, it's kind of like get out there,
a little preseason,
loose. You know, you're pretty much guaranteed 2 wins at the beginning of the season. From then on out, you better be playing some teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you better be playing some people that are competing for a national championship. I don't want to see your 8th game of the season. I don't want to see you going up against Ball State or Tulsa or Rice or something like that, or Boston College.
Yeah.
You know, those types of games, I think it's ridiculous, especially the ones that are later. Like Alabama, I think Alabama's the worst.
They always schedule late easy games.
They get the easiest games late in the season, and later in the seasons when it really comes down to how important your wins and losses are. If you lose your second game of the season, it's okay. You can build back up throughout the season and then still make a national championship game.
Yeah.
But if you have, Ball State as your final game of the season, you're winning that game.
Yeah.
You're not losing that game. So you're like, all right, cool. We got this one locked. We're making the national championship game because who are we going to lose to? Ball State? Nah, that's why it should be the first 2 games cupcake.
Yeah.
The rest of the game, either ranked teams or teams that are predicted to be ranked depending on how the season goes.
Yeah.
That's what I think it should be. I don't think we need to see all these cupcake games midway through the season, near the end of the season, stuff like that. It's just I think it's bad for the sport. I think it needs to be straight up competition. I understand giving the smaller teams an opportunity to go out there and showcase against like a Power Five
Big
school
time
like
school,
Alabama,
yeah.
Georgia, and stuff like that. But do it at the beginning of the season. Give them their little hoorah at the beginning of the season, and they get destroyed
Yeah.
60-7.
And
But
the national
that's my
championship
take on
game.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the way that they have that set up.
Yeah, I don't either. And Alabama, like to your point, Alabama is notorious for that. To where
Yeah.
like they'll have like one or two or maybe three big games, and then the rest of the season is just cupcake.
So sometimes they play schools I've never even heard of.
Yeah, they're like,
I feel like they make up a school, gather up like a roster, and they say, "All right, go play Alabama."
yeah, it's like
like,
the
and it's like,
University
who?
of Phoenix online team has decided to come together and play Alabama for $1 million.
It makes zero sense to me. But
Yeah,
hey,
it
it's
is what it is.
working for them, I guess. Whatever.
So again, guys, we have Georgia.
Okay.
Georgia. There we go. Going 12-1, potentially 13-0. Could they repeat? They might. I don't think they're going to repeat, but they very well could. It just all depends on their quarterback play.